This is a video about bricks. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you may know a bit about bricks themselves, but you probably don't know about the brick tax of 1784. To help pay for the war with the soon-to-be United States of America, King George III began taxing bricks at 2 shillings and 8 cents per 1,000 bricks, leading manufacturers to increase the size of their bricks to mitigate the tax. This resulted in, alright, there's no way the feds would sit through all that. Now let's talk about our real subject. Why the Washington Monument is actually a life-size statue of George Washington, and the secret government documents that prove that America's first president was actually a 500-foot obelisk in a trench coat. What the? Oh my god.
Sam! Sam! It's happening! He's calling!
I knew this day would come. I just hoped we would have had more time.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to answer it. Hello, Mr. Gates? Yes, sir. I understand, sir. Absolutely, sir. Thank you, sir.
So? What happened?
It's time. We're going to make a brick video. So here we go. Look at this, your friendly neighborhood brick. It looks harmless, nice even. You probably look at this brick and think, I bet that brick works its hardest and loves its children the same way I do. But you'd be wrong. What if I told you that all this time, bricks have been trying to kill you, your friends, and the planet? These reprehensible rectangular prisms of evil are everywhere. At school, at work, at the park. In fact, you probably have a brick in your own home. We thought bricks were our friends, but it turns out they've been the villain all along. And concrete bricks are the most sinister of all. Did you know that concrete production accounts for 8% of global CO2 emissions? What's that? You didn't? Exactly, because the bricks don't want you to. In fact, if concrete production were a country, it would be the 3rd largest CO2 emitter in the world, behind only the US and China. Cement bricks have cemented their place as agents of evil, and it's up to us to do something about it. I'm Sam, and I approve this message. The content of this advertisement was paid for by money. Under the Fair Brick Media Act, we are legally required to inform you that this advertisement's claims that bricks are, quote, trying to kill you, reprehensible, the villain all along, sinister, and agents of evil should not be understood as statements of fact. They were exaggerations for comedic effect, although, frankly, they were not that funny. To understand why our bricks are killing us, I first have to tell you about my grandmother. She had a difficult life, growing up in Sarajevo during the Bosnian War. But amidst the fighting and destruction, she always found comfort in this family recipe, passed down from generation to generation, for ACI Code 301-84 compliant normal strength concrete. She recorded this oral telling of it just days before she passed.
What up, my dealers? This anti-amino coming at you hot with fresh new 5-minute diner recipe. Today we've got concrete, which may seem kind of sus but actually really slaps when it go down your gullet. Now first you've got to gather your ingredients. You want some limestone, some clay, a little bit of sand, gravel, water, gypsum and a juice box, preferably those dope ones with Big Bird on the side. Next, take big bowl and mix limestone and clay together. And pop that bad boy into a rotating kiln set to 1450 degrees Celsius. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit. I'm in friggin' Yugoslavia. Now here's some hot tea to spill. Limestone, which is stage name of calcium carbonate, is actually made up of calcium, carbon and oxygen. When you heat that up super hot fire though, limestone will split with calcium going over here, taking one oxygen with it and making calcium oxide. That'll leave one of these carbon boys and 2 oxygen, which make it CO2. We take the calcium oxide and mix that cheese with gypsum, water, sand and gravel to make concrete. And then we just let the carbon dioxide fly away into atmosphere because it's 1970s. And there's no way at all that would be harmful in any way. Alright my peeps, remember to like and smash that subscribe button. I'm out.
Hello, this is Arnold Fitzgerald, Half as Interesting Incorporated Assistant Deputy Fact Checker for the Southeast Pacific region. For liability purposes, I am required to read the following prepared statement. The previous clip, featuring Amina Lara Hadziamanikovic, known colloquially by the moniker Auntie Amina, included the assertion that, quote, there's no way at all that would be harmful in any way, end quote, in reference to the entrance of carbon dioxide, or CO2, into the atmosphere of the Earth. After rigorous review, scrupulous consideration, and fastidious auditing, third-party fact checkers have determined this claim to be demonstrably false. According to data from the Portland Cement Association, due to a lamentable combination of limestone breakup and kiln heating, an average of 927 kilograms, or 2,044 pounds of CO2, are emitted for every 1,000 kilograms, or 2,205 pounds of Portland cement produced in the United States. And indeed, excess quantities of CO2 in and of themselves can be harmful in excess quantities insofar as that results in climate change, which is, bad.
Thanks, Arnold. You make some interesting points. The good news is, there are 2 solutions on the horizon to help us salvage our concrete comrades. Well, actually, there are more than 2, but we already ate up most of our budget on legal fees. So, there's a company called Biomason that essentially grows things called Biobricks, and they were actually really nice. They sent us little samples of their bricks, which are great as little paperweights, or for throwing at the interns if they go for unscheduled bathroom breaks. Biomason even gave us footage of their process to help with our explanation. The only problem is, it's all in black and white, and it's only 30 seconds long, and it has no sound, so we're going to narrate. Here we go. We open on a building that is not made of biobricks. So surely this isn't the building where they... Nope, sign says Biomason. Okay. All right, here's a guy turning a thingy. Okay, this is actually important. So that dirt-looking stuff is called waste aggregate, and it's basically going to get used as the scaffolding that the brick will get grown on. We'll come back to it. Let's keep going. We've got some very dramatic forklift framing. Forklift guy forgot to put his second mask strap on. Okay, stop. So this guy at the big vat, what he's doing is actually important. So remember how much fun you had in chemistry class when you had to learn a bunch of equations? It was awesome and you loved it, remember? Well, great, because we're gonna do more of that now. So making a biobrick is all about making calcium carbonate, also known as CaCO3, also known as calcium carbonate. It's basically limestone. I'm going to explain how to make it, but I just want to warn you, it involves a lot of discussion of a chemical called urea, and you're all gonna have to be big kids about that. So what that guy is probably doing up there is putting together a bunch of stuff. The aggregated waste, some water, some urea, some calcium salt, and a special little microorganism who we'll call Jeff. Jeff releases a reacti-goo, or enzyme, to make the urea, which is made up of all of this, reacts with the water, which we know as H2O, and it splits into 2 ammonias, NH3s, and something called carbonic acid, H2CO3. The ammonias react with the water to make ammonium, NH4, and hydroxide, HO, which makes the solution basic, which then makes that carbonic acid split into HCO3 and H. And then the HCO3 gives its H to one of the HOs to make H2O, leaving CO3. Then that CO3 just grabs some calcium from the salts, and boom, you've got CaCO3, calcium carbonate. That sort of lashes onto that aggregated waste from before and forms a biobrick. If that explanation was confusing to you, don't worry, I'm sure the rest of the footage will help explain. Okay, so we've got a guy hitting a thingy. Oh, now it has a leak. Something that looks like the inside of a printer. All right, fat guy is back, but he forgot to put on his other mask loop, and he's pressing buttons, and the guy next to him, another guy is pointing at the buttons in case the first guy forgets where they are. Oh look, more aggregates. All right, we've got a big machine that looks like Deadpool wearing a top hat, giant stamp. Oh look, it's Snickers bars. Delicious. And yep, that building is definitely still not made out of biobricks. And okay, that's the end. That didn't really help explain it, so hopefully it made sense the first time. Biobricks are just one solution though. The other big idea these days is something called carbon capture, and we figured after the Biomason people were so nice, we should reach out to CaptureCrete, a carbon capture concrete company, and they'd probably be just as helpful and accommodating to us. So we called them up, and here's what they had to say.
Thank you for calling CaptureCrete. We can't get to the phone right now. Please leave a message.
So we left a message and waited as long as we could for them to get back to us, but we didn't hear anything before we had to publish the video. Totally no big deal though, we 100% get it. People are busy, no hard feelings. In fact, as a show of goodwill, we figured we'd just play their ad.
Here at CaptureCrete, we're busy making concrete bricks that will change the world. So busy, in fact, that we don't have much time for doing anything else at all, even returning phone calls. The first step in making our concrete is pre-combustion carbon capture. You see, when fossil fuels are burned from the plants that power the lights in our house or the phones in our offices that we don't check, they let off a bunch of things called flue gases. Water vapor, sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, and most importantly, CO2. But by placing a filter on the smokestack releasing these gases, we're able to separate the CO2 out. It's not easy. In fact, It's hard. So hard that our brains have to stay completely, 100% full of that information, leaving no room at all for remembering how to check an answering machine, or how to extend the common courtesy of calling someone back. Anyways, now that we've got that CO2, we have to put it into concrete bricks. We start with a material that's a byproduct of making steel. Steel slag, which is full of calcium oxide. Pour it into a mold and then cure it with CO2. They combine together to form calcium carbonate, a solid that can support a structure. So now, you've got a concrete brick that didn't involve the carbon-intensive process of superheating a kiln. And instead of releasing CO2, you actually absorbed about 1 kilogram of it into a brick. I know, it sounds so simple. And it is. Maybe. It might be more complicated, but how would you know that? It's not like we would actually take the time to have a quick phone call to explain it to you. You're just a dumb little idiot who runs a YouTube channel with nearly 2 million subscribers who wanted to tell the world about our product. But we decided that you weren't worth our time. Free publicity? No, thanks. We're just so busy making concrete. Concrete, concrete, concrete. Yeah! Capturecrete. We care about the environment, but not about Sam's feelings.
All right, so what's the point of all of this? Well, it really all comes down to something Bill Gates says in his new book, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. In it, he wrote, all rights reserved, published in the United States by Alfred A. Knopf, a division of Penguin... Okay, that seems like the wrong quote. He wrote, U.S. Department of Energy, History of Air Conditioning, www.energy. No, that's the citations. Okay, here we go. By 2060, the world's building stock, a measure that factors in the number of buildings and their size, will double. That's like putting up another New York City every month for 40 years. Look, neither Biobricks nor the jerks at Capturecrete are poised right now to completely fix the problem of carbon emissions in building materials, although, and it makes me furious to admit this, carbon capture concrete technology is probably a bit closer. But they can both help. Plus, there are some other processes, including alternative and recycled materials, that we didn't even get a chance to talk about here because we wasted all our runtime holding a grudge against a concrete company. In the end, the real point is that we need to be exploring lots of ideas, even knowing that many of them will fail. I think Bill summed up that point best when he wrote in his book, we need to be exploring lots of ideas, even knowing that many of them will fail. And lastly, I'll leave you with one final quote from Bill's book. In chapter 3, he writes, hey, Half as Interesting viewers, they finally did it, alright? They made a bricks video. It's done. They made it. You can stop spamming the suggestions page. It's finished. Happy now? So, just to be clear, the video really was created in partnership with Bill Gates, and he really does have a new book out called How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, and for what it's worth, I've read it, and it's really genuinely great. He does an incredible job of laying out the problem, or really the many problems, at the heart of climate change, and then writes smartly, clearly, thoughtfully, and realistically about the solutions. You can find out more about how we can all work together to avoid a climate disaster at the link below.